have been really busy on the farm here this past week, which is normal for the summertime to go through seasons of slow times and then things start to pick up again. And it just seems like everything's kind of hitting at once. Right now, our group of cows that calve during the fall of the year are starting to calve, which is a bit earlier than we were expecting. Normally it's like late August into September. But we've already had 2 sets of twins be born, and those twins, the ones that I'm bottle raising, they're actually calves from each different set. The cows just weren't taking care of both of them like they should. So we decided to go ahead and pull these little babies in hopes that I can bottle raise them and give them the proper nutrition that they need. So that is something we have going on, is just taking care of these little guys and keeping an eye on the herd. And then we have a big job we need to get to later on today as well. So as I mentioned, our fall cows are starting to calve. So on our farm, we have groups of cows. We have 2 groups of cows. We have we call our spring calving herd and then our fall calving herd. So part of the cows have their babies in the spring of the year, and then the other part have their calves in the fall of the year. And this is something that works really well for our farm, especially with selling all of our meat direct to consumer. It kind of gives us a chance to have beef available more than just once per year. So that way we kind of have 2 groups of calves to raise. So the group that is being born right now will actually be our beef that we'll have available for sale in the spring of 2026. And what we're doing today is we are needing to pull the bulls out of the herd so that way they don't breed these cows back right away that are starting to calve, because the cows will start to cycle back fairly quickly. And we need to just make sure these bulls are separated from them so that we can continue to have uniform calving seasons. So they won't need to be back out with the cows until Thanksgiving. So me and my dad are actually setting up a corral system. When we move the cows today, our plan is to just let the cows come through, and then when we see a bull, shut the panels on him and go ahead and separate him off into another field. And then we're going to come back a little later with our trailer and load them up and actually just take them to another farm altogether. That way they're out of the way and the cows can continue to go on with their grazing and calving. And then this way the bulls will just be separated altogether and we don't have to worry about them accidentally getting back in with our cow herd too early. We actually currently have 5 bulls, but only 2 of them are our big bulls that we're breeding or using for breeding. And then we have 3 younger ones that we're raising to kind of take their place once these older bulls are no longer breeding our cows. And that's just something that we do to just keep our genetics kind of freshened up and to make sure that we always have enough sound bulls to get the job done. We try to keep our herd together as much as we can. So our spring cows and our fall cows, they're always together. The calves are always together. And then really the only time we separate is whenever we have to pull our bulls off during calving seasons. And we found that just taking the bulls off of this farm altogether is just the easiest way to do it. And then we don't have to work around them. So we're going to be hauling them back to my mom and dad's farm in a different area, and then they'll just have a huge pasture to go out and roam around until about Thanksgiving. We need to bring them back up to our cow herd to breed the fall cows again. One thing on our farm that is really important to us is calm animals, because if these bulls were not really gentle and calm, they would not allow us to just load them up like this out in the pasture with this little makeshift corral. And this is something that we find with rotational grazing we have to do quite often, is bring panels to different part of the pasture and set up systems to get our animals in the trailer, so that way if we have a sick animal that needs to be treated, or in this case some bulls that need to be separated, we can do that. So all of our animals have to be fairly calm and easy to work with in order to just be able to set up a temporary working corral and be able to get them caught like this. So because we're working with pretty easy to work with animals, all of this went fairly smoothly today, and we were able to get the job done just out in the middle of the field, far away from our permanent working corral setup. We decided to take 2 separate trips in the trailer. Just thought it would be safer to have our big bulls separated. So after we got them hauled back, we went ahead and loaded our little bulls all together and brought them back to the same farm as well. We found that when we raise the bulls together and we just keep them together a lot, they don't tend to fight, and then that way they can just always stay together and get along out in the herd as well. So after our bull hauling job was done, we need to go back up and look at the rest of the cows to see if we have any new calves. We check our herd very often during calving season just to keep a close eye on all the cows and calves and make sure we don't have any problems. And we discovered we got a red calf, which is very rare because other than our one Guernsey red cow, we only have black cows and black bulls. So to discover this little heifer calf that was completely red was kind of a sweet little surprise. We also raise pork on our farm, and we decided to move our pigs over the weekend to a new section of pasture. So we're actually using the pigs this year to help us renovate an area on the farm that kind of got overgrown with weeds and forage that is undesirable for the cattle, but the hogs are loving it. They're loving just being able to munch through all the greenery and to root around in this area. And then our plan is, once the pigs are done in this area this fall, we'll go ahead and plant some rye or wheat out there, something that the cattle will be able to graze next season. One part of the farm that I really have to remember to slow down and make it a part of my daily routine is the garden. And it has just been exploding here lately. So all the vegetables are really starting to take off. And my goal for this year was to be better about harvesting them, because last year I didn't take the time and I wasted a lot of vegetables because I didn't harvest them on time. So this year my goal is to just be better about picking them and then also preserving them, so that way we have more vegetables going into the winter months. So setting goals like that is really important for me, because last year I just felt really bad about neglecting the garden. So this year, just setting an easy goal of just getting out there a little bit more each day and making time in my schedule feels so less overwhelming. And then I'm not going to regret wasting all those fresh vegetables we had growing. And just using the garden as a place to slow down and truly embrace the beauty of this season. We have also been really busy with our meat chickens this week as well. So the group we had out on pasture was actually ready to go to be processed. So me and my husband had to get them all loaded up to go to the local processor here in our state. And then that way I could get all these chickens back to sell at the farmer's market or on my online store. And once we have a group of chickens leave, we usually try to have another group to take their place to get raised during the summer months. And the brooder that we were using to raise our baby chicks in, we were no longer able to use that. So we had to recreate a new brooder. And me and my husband were actually able to find this trailer super cheap just for scrap metal price. And we thought it would make the perfect new brooder. We just needed to do some work on it to get it predator proof for one, and then also to make sure it would stay warm enough, because these baby chicks have to be kept in a 90-degree environment for the first couple weeks before they're big enough to go out on pasture. So once we got this trailer all set up, we got our next batch of meat chicks in the mail to raise. So they'll stay in this little trailer for a couple weeks, and then we will put them out on pasture and raise them like the rest of the chickens. Thank you so much for watching this video and following along for a busy week on the farm. I look forward to sharing more with you, and especially sharing more of those really cute baby calves that are going to be born here over the next month.